Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we have something a little bit different. We have something a little bit new, and this is not an IELTS question. As you can see, this is a CELPIP writing question. So I figured that, lately over the past few years, we've had a lot of people who've reached out and, we've helped with CELPIP preparation as well. It's only that I haven't ever made any content for CELPIP until now, until today, and I'm just trying this out and seeing if people will find it useful, if you're going to enjoy it. When you watch the full video, just leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought. So what I'm going to do is, my goal is pretty much every month to have 2 CELPIP writing tasks done on this channel, maybe even a full CELPIP speaking test or 2. I don't know about that right now because it's a bit of a busy month, but let's hope we can get that done. So here's our question. Your neighbor wants to build a fence between your 2 properties. Write an email to your neighbor. Your email must include the following points: some positive comments on the idea of building a fence, some concerns that you have regarding the building of the fence, and some suggestions you have regarding the planning and payment of the fence, and a wish that the final result will be acceptable to your neighbor and to yourself. So we have 4 bullet points. Now this is the first CELPIP writing task. You have the email, that's the first task, and then you also have to write a survey response. That is task number 2. And so for both of these, you get approximately 27 to 28 minutes each. And so unlike the IELTS, where again you have 2 tasks on the IELTS, but for one of these, well, they give you 60 minutes in total, and they recommend that you spend 20 minutes for task 1 there and 40 minutes for task 2 for the IELTS exam, of course. For the CELPIP, you have an equal amount of time, and they don't give you a full hour and ask you to just manage your time yourself. You get 27 to 28 minutes. It could be either one of these for each writing task. Another really important thing is that both writing tasks are equally important. So again, it's not like on the IELTS where task 2 is more important and forms a greater part of your score. It's not like that on the CELPIP. Both tasks are equally important, so you must do well for both of these in order to get a high score, which again most people are normally looking for somewhere around a band 9. We've had a few people that wanted a band 10 as well, but that's generally pretty rare. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, and I'm just going to show you how I would write. Now this may not necessarily be an exact a copy of what I teach in class in our courses, because again, I don't know, as the person who's watching the video, as you right now, I don't know what kind of score you need. I don't know what kind of language skills or exam skills issues you have right now. So it's of course going to be different from what we normally teach in our programs, which, by the way, if you want to find out about that, you can go to our website, or I'll leave a link down below. So let's start. Now, when it comes to writing emails, now if you come from an IELTS background, which most of you probably are, this isn't really too different to writing a letter. It's really not too different. Even in terms of size, there on the IELTS, they expect you to write 150 words minimum. Now on the CELPIP, you have a maximum word count as well. So you need to write from 150 to 200 words, not more than 200. Now that is something that a lot of people ignore or overlook, and That's one reason out of many why many people struggle to get a 9 on the CELPIP. Now, a lot of people take the CELPIP exam because they think that, oh, well, it's a change from the IELTS. Maybe it's easier. And some parts, of course, do tend to be a bit easier, like reading and listening. Of course, not the video section. Listening, that's where a lot of people actually struggle. But yeah, there's this idea that the CELPIP is easier, which is not really 100% true. There are some parts which are easier, but there are also some parts which can be tougher. Now, this depends entirely on your current ability. No two students are the same. So yeah, let's start. So as I was saying, you have a maximum word limit here. You cannot, well, I mean, technically you can, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't write more than 200 words. So that's a fixed upper limit. So you always want to be careful. And of course, during the exam, you will be able to see your word count. So that's easy enough to take care of. So what do we do? First things first, you are writing, you need to figure out, is this formal or is this informal? Sometimes it could be semi-formal. Whom are you writing to? Are you writing to someone who's a stranger? Then that's always formal. If you're writing to somebody that's a friend or a family member, then it's always informal. And if you're writing to someone that's not exactly a family member, but you know them, maybe you have a professional relationship with them, right? So in that case, that would be some semi-formal. Now that really depends. For example, writing to your direct manager or writing to your child's school principal, these can be semi-formal because you've met them before. They're not strangers to you. And of course, in a situation like this one, your neighbor wants to build a fence. That is not formal. You see your neighbor frequently, maybe not every day. Some people are even friends with their neighbor. So that depends. This is very context dependent, and there's really no wrong way to go about it. You can treat this as a semi-formal email. You can treat this as an informal email. Both ways are perfectly fine because, again, like I said, some people are friends with their neighbors. Some people hardly ever see their neighbors, even if they live side by side. So yeah, that's something that you can decide for yourself. And on the CELPIP, one thing that I've noticed is that people who tend to personalize their writing, who try to make it look as real as possible, tend to get a higher score. So don't just write, for example, Dear Mr. XYZ, I live in building ABC, flat number 123. Don't write that kind of stuff. That really, it's not one huge thing, but it does play a role in dragging your score down just a little bit, but it does play a role. It's a risk factor. So you want your email to look as realistic as possible. So we could start, for example, now it's a neighbor, so of course I know their surname at the very least, for example, Dear Mr. Smith, Dear Mrs., whatever, any kind of surname works. Or again, if you're, on friendly terms with your neighbor, then you would just say, Dear Janice. Now, this depends, right? Both are fine. I can treat this as an informal letter because, again, maybe my neighbor is my friend. Or I can treat this as a semi-formal type. So maybe, for example, Dear Mr. Brown. Then you put a comma right here, and then you start with your first bullet point. Now, each bullet point corresponds to one paragraph in your email. Now, what a lot of people do is they kind of just write very haphazardly, just kind of write in a very random manner. Now, that's not something you want to do if you want a good score. So people treat these bullet points like suggestions, but they're not suggestions. These are instructions that you must follow because this is the information that the examiners want to see. They expect to see this information in your email. So if you don't have this information, then of course that's going to harm your score. So it's always good to treat these bullet points as commandments. Practically, you must include this information. So what's the first thing that I need to do? Now, a lot of people will struggle to, because again, you have to write around minimum 150 to a maximum of 200 words. Now, I would recommend, around 190. You don't want to write too less, but at the same time, you don't want to write more than 200. You have to be very careful, not even 201. In fact, I would say don't write more than 199 words. I think that is good enough. Anywhere from 185 plus is good enough, but don't cross 200. That is very important because maybe what I'll do is I don't have the list right now, like in this document that I'm working on, but I will be just posting or sharing maybe in the next video or something like that, how many marking criteria there are. Now, of course, you probably know that there are 4 marking criteria. However, these 4 marking criteria also have sub criteria. So each marking criterion has 4 sub criteria. That means that in total you actually have 16 marking criteria. Think about that. And in some of these, you literally have a marking criterion called word count. And out of 12, you can easily get 10 or 11 just for your word count. So there's many ways that you can easily get even 10s or 11s in some of these marking criteria. So yeah, I don't have it right now, unfortunately, but I will be sharing that soon. Maybe I'll leave a link in the comments or something like that. Let me see. First, let's just work on our task at hand. So as I was saying, your bullet points are going to be your paragraphs. So bullet point 1 is paragraph 1. So bullet point 1 says some positive comments on the idea of building a fence. Now, normally when we, do this kind of thing, we might just say, oh, I think building a fence is a great idea. It's a lovely idea. It's an amazing idea. And that's it, full stop. What else do people normally even say? It's just a one sentence type of thing, right? And yet, if your word count is, let's say you aim to write a letter, an email that is 190 words, for example. Now, out of these 190 words, you're going to definitely have, let's say, 15 to 25 words that are just, dear Mr. Brown, yours faithfully, stuff like that. So let's deduct 25 words from that, right? That leaves us with, and math is not my strongest point, so I hope nobody laughs at me. Is that 165? Let me see, 70. Yes, that's right. So that leaves us with approximately, 165. Let's actually just aim for 195, right? So that leaves us with 170 words for our 4 body paragraphs, right? So how big should each body paragraph be? In this case, you have 4 bullet points, although sometimes you just get 3 bullet points. So you will either have 3 bullet points or you will have 4 bullet points. So depending on how many bullet points you have, if you have 3 bullet points, you have 3 paragraphs. If you have 4, then you have 4 paragraphs. So naturally the word count will be different for each paragraph. So here, for example, if my goal is to write 195 words in total from start to finish, that leaves us with 170 words approximately for all 4 body paragraphs. That means that each body paragraph of yours has to be at least 40 or 42 words approximately. So that way you can have, an entire email that is sufficiently big, because you need content. You need relevant content. That's why they give you these weird bullet points, right? Because see, normally just some positive comments on the idea of building a fence. Normally, that is just a one sentence thing. How am I supposed to write 42 words based on this thing? that's the challenge. That's what they want to see. How are you going to really extract information and create enough content to be able to fully furnish your page to really fill up your email, your letter, whatever that is, with the right amount of content. So that can be a challenge, but it's not difficult. It's just that we're not used to doing things that way. All you need is a few explaining videos and practice. Of course, that's always going to be important. Okay, so as I was saying, your paragraphs need to be 42 words, 42 words minimum. On average, around, let's say, 45 or so. Could be a little bit more or less. You don't want any lopsided paragraphs. That's one thing that a lot of people do, is their first paragraph will be like 15 words, and the next one will be like 60 words, and the next one will be 30 words, and it looks very strange. It looks very, it doesn't look well developed, right? It looks like one bullet point is appropriately responded to, and the other bullet point is not responded to at all, or too much or underdeveloped. So you don't want that kind of thing either. Of course, if you have, let's say, 3 bullet points, in that case you would end up writing roughly around 55 words for each paragraph. So it can be a bit of a task, especially if you have bullet points that say leave some positive comments. So we really need to think, what would I actually do in a situation like this? Your neighbor wants to build a fence between your homes. Obviously, you don't build a fence between apartments. So naturally, these are freestanding homes that we're talking about. So dear Mr. Brown, I'm so glad. Now, in this case, I'm kind of treating it semi-formally, right? So I can use contracted forms. It's just a neighbor. If I was writing to, for example, my child's school principal or something like that, then I would actually write I am, just to be a little bit more formal. But here it's fine. We're neighbors, so we don't need I am writing to you, that kind of stuff. So I'm so glad that this is going to be a mutual thing. So I'm so glad that you are considering building a fence or erecting a fence. That's another word you can use, by the way, between our homes. This is a fantastic idea. Whoops, why is autocorrect even on? I have no idea. This is okay, my keyboard is really not the best right now. This is a fantastic idea, as well, I mean, it's your neighbor. I read a student's response to this question, and they had written something like, hey, your dog keeps pooping on my property. And that was so, I mean, of course that can be a legitimate concern, complaint, but please don't use words like pooping. Don't use any kind of unsavory language. Although I have to admit, I mean, that kind of casual use of language is actually very appropriate. But in an exam, you usually don't want to risk that. So I'm so glad that you're considering erecting a fence, that you are, maybe I can shorten this one as well. Yeah, I'm so glad that you're considering erecting a fence, but homes is a fantastic idea. Why? Why is it a good idea? Why are fences important? What does a fence do? Maybe we have pets that just run off to the street. Maybe you have kids that run off. Sometimes that happens too. I have a friend whose child just ran off into the street and was found by someone else. So this is a fantastic idea, because both of our pets can then be safe, right, inside our boundaries, inside the boundaries, right, of our properties. And well, let me see the word count here. Oh, that's already 33 words. That's very close. We need, like I said, about 42 words, more or less. So I'm so glad that you're considering erecting a fence between our homes. It's a fantastic idea, because if we had a fence, if we have fences, both of our pets could then, I'm using a conditional form, could be safe inside the boundaries of the properties, and we wouldn't have to worry about people damaging our flower gardens. There we go. Right, so this is very like positive. Of course, people can build fences between their homes when they're like angry with each other as well. Like, oh, this person keeps coming into my property, or your dog keeps coming over into my garden and destroying my flowers. This depends on the kind of attitude you want to express, really. I mean, there's nothing really wrong. I could have chosen, but of course, you have to leave positive comments, right? It says so right there. So yeah, and that's already good enough. It's just like 2 sentences, and that's 48 words. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. That's enough content, and it's all relevant content. Let's look at the next bullet point. Some concerns that you have regarding the building of the fence. What concerns, worries, or problems might you have? Maybe I'll bring up the homeowners association. I do worry, however, that we may not get permission from the homeowners association for this idea. Right, so that's a concern. Why? Because they won't allow it. Homeowners associations are very weird. They have all these weird rules and everything, and they won't let you plant this or have that in your house or color your door something. So I do worry, however, that we may not get permission from the owners association for this idea, since all other homes do not currently have fences. Additionally, what else? What other? Because of course I cannot just end my paragraph, right? This is only 26 words. I need one more sentence. So additionally, what other problems might you have? Maybe, let's say, what problems, why would somebody have a problem with a fence? Maybe we have gardens that might be destroyed, or maybe we have, I don't know, maybe the land is, I don't know. There are so many kinds of fences. You can have wooden fences, you can have steel fences. Maybe you can think about the cost or something. Additionally, since wood is unsuitable for our region, or our climate, maybe we would have to get a metal fence, which can be, what's cheaper? Isn't metal cheaper than wood? Oh, that's true. Wow, that was not very smart of me. Since metal is unsuitable for our climate, we would have to get a wooden fence, which can be expensive. Cost prohibitive, expensive. You can use any of these words. Just 46 words, perfect. We may not easily get permission. Okay, so that's some concerns. Remember, concerns, plural. So you cannot just have one concern, right? You must have at least 2 concerns. Otherwise, we may not get, why do I have not easily get permission? What's wrong here? We may, not get. Oh, that's weird. Of course, you should be reading your work as you write it, but I tend to be a little bit chaotic. Okay, some suggestions. Again, suggestions. See here as well. Comments, again, plural, so it can't just be one thing. So I have left 2 comments. I'm happy that you're considering a fence. This is a great idea. Why? Our pets will be safe, our gardens will be safe as well, right? Again, you have suggestions. So this also has to be plural. You have to have at least 2 suggestions, right? Okay, so I have what I suggest is, right, suggestions, you can use modal verbs. You can say, it would be a good idea to, or I would recommend, blah, 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 or we should. So here we have to talk about the planning and payment of the fence. So since it's for both people, of course, the costs should be split. That's only fair. I worry about the permission. I think we should be able to, suggestion, I think we should be able to petition the HOA, Homeowners Association, to allow the fence on safety grounds. On grounds of safety, or maybe we can say, I think we should be able to petition the HOA to allow the fence for safety reasons. I know that a few other residents have also considered building a fence, and I'm sure they'll support us. Maybe this is a little bit too much. I might leave that out. I know that a few other residents, I've spoken to, well, I don't know. Let's see. It's a little bit non-relevant. I don't know. It's like already 30. I think I'll remove that. It's just useless stuff. I think we should be able to petition the HOA to allow the fence for safety reasons. As long as we ensure that it remains in good repair, that it's not, like a dirty fence or rusty or damaged. As long as we keep it looking nice, should be fine. What another suggestion? Planning and payment. We could get some, quotes from local builds at carpenters, okay, local craftsmen, or well, not local craftsmen, service providers, and split the cost equally. Some of them might expect, well, I think that's good enough. 42, exactly 42 words. That's just how much I need. I don't really need more than this, so I don't know if I should. I mean, maybe I write a few more words. What do you think? Leave it be. I'll just let me just make the text bigger. Okay, I think we could get some quotes from local source providers for the costs equally. And I'll be glad. I've already said I'll be. I will. Yeah, we should be able to. We could get some quotes from local service providers. Before within a week, and oh, I don't know. I feel like it's lacking something, even though it seems complete. We get some quotes to get started. We could, I could get some quotes. Yeah, I could get some quotes from local source provider within a week, and we could split the cost, and we will split the cost equally. Of course, I think we will create nice variety of modal verbs. A wish that the final result will be acceptable to your neighbor and to yourself. A wish, singular. Well, at least one wish. So, I'm excited. I'm excited about this project. I'm excited about this project, and I hope that it all turns out well, without much of a okay, well, maybe that's too negative. Let's be positive. I hope that all turns out well. I'm excited about it, and I hope that it all turns out well, and that we are able to enjoy our our lawns, our new fenced in. Maybe we can then host a grilling party. Okay, this is still like not enough content. It's only 35 words, right? So I'm excited about this project, and I hope that it all turns out well, and that we're able to enjoy our new fenced-in lawns soon. Maybe we can then host a barbecue as well. Final result will be acceptable. I hope that it all turns out well. Only this part is really acceptable, so they're able to enjoy new fenced-in lawns soon. what else can I say? A wish that the final result will be acceptable. I'm excited about this project and I hope that it will, yeah, it will all turn out well. I'm sure that I'm sure that oh yeah, with the fence, homes will well, a wish, right? A wish. I'm hopeful. I hope I've already said that. Let's see what else I can do. I'm excited about this project. I hope that it will all turn out well. I I think that with the fence, our homes will look even nicer. And hopefully we can enjoy our new fenced-in lawn soon. We can then host a barbecue as well. Great. Now there's enough content. That's 45 words. Perfect. What's the last thing I need to do? I also need to sign off. I recommend leave some space, maybe something like talk to you soon, something like that. Since it's my neighbor, I'm going to talk to them anyway. In this case, for example, we already know their name, so that's kind of semi-formal or informal, however you want to take this. You can just end with yours truly, because no need for sincere. That sounds a little bit too much. And in this case, since I've addressed this person as Mr. Brown, maybe I'll keep yours sincerely. Yeah, because I've addressed them as Mr. Brown. So maybe they're older than me, maybe we're not that close, right? So yeah, something like that. There we go. So that's our entire email. Now, let's see. This is 201 words. That's a red flag. We need to shorten it. So if you see that, oops, I have overshot the word limit, what should you do? Look at your biggest paragraph. This one right here, for example, is 47. This one is 48. This one is 50. This one is 45. But visually, this one looks bigger. So does this one. So maybe we'll try and trim the fat from here. I worry, however, I don't need to, because it sounds a little bit too formal. I do worry that it sounds a little bit too formal, so I'll leave that. I worry, however, that we may not easily get permission from the HOA for this idea. Well, for the fan, I don't know, it's 200 words exactly, but I'm not comfortable with 200. I want to bring that down to 199. I'm so glad that you're considering putting a fence between our homes. It's a fantastic idea, because if we have fences, because with fences, no, I'm going to keep if, because it's a conditional sentence form, so it's great for variety. Both of our pets could be safe inside the boundaries of our property, so we wouldn't have to worry about people damaging our flower gardens. This one looks big, so what we'll do is, additionally, since metal sounds suitable for a climate, we would have to get a wooden fence, which could be expensive, Whoops. I think we use, as long as we ensure that remains in good repair. To get started, I could get some quotes. And we can split the cost equally. There we go. I'm excited. That's 200, and like I said, it's 200, and yeah, it's 200 exact, but I'm not okay with that. I have to get rid of one word. I'm so glad that you want to. It's the same. The fantastic idea, because if we have fences, I worry that we may not easily get permission. For this, I don't need the word idea, really. So when you delete stuff, don't delete anything that's meaningful. When you get rid of stuff, that's only going to be words that are not really that important. Like this idea versus this. It's understood when I say this versus this idea. It's the same anyway. I'm not like, getting rid of anything important, right? So there we go. This is the whole thing. It's 199 words now, and you see how you don't actually have to write a ton of stuff, right? So there's the whole thing. You can pause the screen to have a good look. And wow, that was fun. I think I'll do that maybe twice a week. But let me know what you thought of the video. Please leave your comments down below. I'd love to know what you think. And if you found the video helpful, don't forget to leave a like and share. with anybody that you know is preparing for the exam. So I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye, and don't forget to check out our other videos as well. We have tons of content on the channel. Bye bye.